So the Eagles bring back Fletcher Cox, and in the words of the great Adrian Fedku, are you ready for some deep penetration?
Dallas still stinks.
Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and so the Eagles continue to make moves. Howie Roseman is wheeling and dealing, zigging and zagging, and the latest to come back to Philly is one Fletcher Cox. And in the words of Adrian Fedku the Great, are you ready for some deep penetration? He did it a lot better than me, but if Fletcher Cox can come back and be productive, I think we'll all be ready for some deep penetration. Now, pause. Now, before we begin this video, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, most throttled Eagles content creator in all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, thank you so much for all the support you guys give to me. Truly, it means a lot. I really, really appreciate it. Now, we got a lot of different things going on. We're all, of course, waiting. And I feel like I say this almost every other video. As of right now, we haven't heard anything from CJ Gardner-Johnson. We're still waiting. Maybe it'll come out when I'm posting this video. But as of right now, we're still in limbo with it. And we still think we have a chance. I think the longer this thing goes, the better chances the Eagles have to bring him back. We saw Darius Slay. He was released earlier. We're going to get into that in a second because there's a chance maybe, possibly, he can come back to the Eagles. And then, of course, the Eagles just signed Fletcher Cox. And my opinion is maybe they were at Georgia's pro day and they saw big fat Jalen Carter come in to run and do drills. We'll get into that in a second, too. But let's start with Fletcher Cox, right? Howard Esker reported defensive tackle Fletcher Cox is returning to the Pound Eagles on a 1-year, $10 million deal per Adam Schefter. This, by all accounts, is a discount. Ed Kratz said Fletcher Cox coming back to the Pound Eagles on a hometown discount per Adam Schefter of $10 million for 1 year. Yeah, I guess when you look at what Javon Hargrave got in, $20 to $22 million a year, yeah, I guess it is a hometown discount. I think, we hope. But the truth of the matter is that Fletcher Cox is coming back because we need another guy. We lost Hargrave. We're going to lose him. We have Jordan Davis. And really, truthfully, Jordan Davis has got a lot to prove, especially when it comes to being a pass rusher. I think Jordan Davis is going to be great. I think he's going to be fantastic. But I think you need another guy there. I think you need a veteran. The question, and I think it's a fair question, is this contract because Fletcher Cox can come in and be productive and be worth $10 million? Is it sentimental? Is it a little of both? Or is it because it's a discount? My guess is probably all three. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I do not mind bringing Fletcher Cox back for 1 more year. 1 year, $10 million. We need him. We need him. And I don't think that this is going to stop the Eagles from choosing a defensive tackle in the draft if they choose to go that route. But Fletcher Cox coming back is definitely going to help our defense. It's good to start seeing some of these guys actually return. Right now we have James Bradbury coming back. We have Boston Scott coming back. We have Fletcher Cox coming back. We're going to need another linebacker. I'm sure we're going to have Nakobe Dean take over there. And then, of course, yes, we're waiting on CJ Gardner-Johnson. But Fletcher Cox coming back into the fold, I think it's a good move, especially for the price that's coming. And I know it may be somewhat sentimental for the Eagles. And I know that he's going to have to live up to the production for $10 million. And what is that production? I don't know. I just think that over the course of the last few years, I think, Fletcher's getting older now. So we'll see what he got. But I'm glad that Fletcher Cox is back for one more year at a reasonable price. And I think this is another good move by the Philadelphia Eagles. You don't want to bring too many guys back, but they're bringing guys that have proven over the years that they always give 110%. They're not going to get content with just having gone to a Super Bowl and lost. And I think Fletcher Cox coming back for one more year is a good thing, not a bad thing. It can't hurt, and I hope that the extra year will really rub off on Jordan Davis. And I'm expecting big things from Jordan Davis in this draft. And as I said earlier, I wonder if some of this has to do with the guys that they're getting ready to draft. I don't know if you guys saw what's going on with defensive tackle Jalen Carter. But Jalen Carter, I'll just read this. Here's what Ari Miroff said. Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter weighed in 9 pounds heavier than he did last month's combine at Georgia Pro Day today. He didn't finish the position drills because he was cramping up and breathing heavily, per ESPN's Mark Schlabach. I don't know how to say his name. But he came in, he was 9 pounds heavier. He was obviously out of shape. And this, I gotta say, it is going to be a concern for teams. Why is he so out of shape? Does this have anything to do with everything that happened with him getting arrested? Is he maybe feeling pressure, from everything going on, that it's distracting from him being ready for his pro day? Usually guys are pretty ready for their pro days, even more so than the combine. So it was a little surprising to see that he was out of shape. I think he's going to fall. I think he's going to fall to 10. Now, this does raise red flags. I'm not going to lie. It does, because a couple days ago, a week ago, a couple weeks ago, Jalen Carter falls to 10. I'm taking him in a second. But this does raise some red flags. You got to worry about, is he going to be somebody that's out of shape, or is he going to be in shape? What's going on with him? I don't know. I don't want to make any total judgments. I'm not going to meet with the guy. I'm not going to interview him. But the Eagles need to do their due diligence. They need to figure out what's going on with this kid, because this kid has a ton of talent. Maybe the best player in this entire draft. But if you're coming into your pro day out of shape, when you know what is at stake and you know people are going to be there to watch him, and he had to know he was coming in out of shape and not ready to go, that's a concern. That's a red flag. That's something the Eagles have to figure out if that's going to be a problem. But I think Jalen Carter is going to start to fall. Now, if he puts everything he has into football and he lives up to his talent, he's going to be a steal for somebody. But I wouldn't say that he's definitely off my draft board after this situation. But I would say that it is a concern, and the Eagles need to do their homework and figure out exactly what's going on. And I'm sure that they will. The Eagles do their homework. And, another position a lot of people are talking about today is also corner. Will the Eagles draft a corner now that Darius Slay is going to be gone? That's a great question. But one thing we've got to ask ourselves is this. Is Darius Slay coming back? Is there possibility that Darius Slay is going to come back? Darius Slay tweeted this earlier today. Might be back, referring to Philly. Laugh out loud, never know. There's a lot of chatter that it's something that could possibly happen. If you remember Fletcher Cox last year, he got cut, and then the Eagles brought him back, the day after, or 48 hours later, something like that. I would not mind Darius Slay coming back at all, of course, for the right price. I don't want to pay him a ton of money. We did a lot to get a situation that we're going to have cap money come June. But if he comes back on a cheaper deal or something like that, then that would be great. I just wonder why they couldn't have done this in a restructure in which he would have never had it been cut in the first place. We maybe have had that money a lot earlier, and maybe we could have gotten the CJ Gardner-Johnson thing taken care of. I feel like things are going pretty good for the Eagles. I mean, just about as good as you could expect in free agency with the amount of players that they were going to lose, where they were with the cap. I think the Eagles are doing a pretty good job. I think bringing Fletcher Cox back is a good thing. I think Brandon Graham coming back is a good thing. I think the guys that they've brought back, it's a good thing. And guys like Hargrave, you hate to see go, but you understand why it had to happen. And then maybe we get Darius Slay back, maybe we don't, but I understand what the Eagles were doing in that situation. Everything is going pretty good, but I feel like it's also, at the same time, it's also like we're waiting on one move. Like, that one move to like we got this one chain. We're like a bird, right? We want to fly away, but we just got one more chain on us, holding us back. And as soon as CJ Gardner-Johnson signs, as soon as he signs with the Eagles, man, I feel like we're off. I feel like that one thing is just hanging over our heads, and it's just like, oh my gosh, will something happen soon? Because I need it to. I need this CJ Gardner-Johnson thing to be resolved, and I need it to be resolved with CJ Gardner-Johnson coming back to Philly. But in the meantime, we have Fletcher Cox. He's coming back, and I think that's a good thing. Now, the question is going to be, can Fletcher Cox at his age live up to this contract? Can he give you the proper production for what $10 million defensive tackle's worth? To me, if you can get 6 sacks from Fletcher Cox in a year, I think that's not going to be bad, especially for his age. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, probably in a few hours, if some good things go our way. Don't be a dingbat, remember. It's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. And here's something else to back up the Darius Slay situation. That maybe he could be coming back. John Clark reports this. So it's very interesting. Eagles have not announced the expected release of Darius Slay after 4 p.m. new league year. Could they be working something out? Maybe. Maybe they are. Maybe it has to do with CJ Gardner-Johnson. Like, if they can't get CJ back, then they're going to bring Slay back. Maybe it's something to that effect. But listen, I would love to have Darius Slay back for the right price next year. You can't go wrong with him and James Bradbury as your 2 corners. Denzel Washington out.